Yo, peace. Abargani, Islam, Salam, Hete Pu, Rahubat, Ginolaco Ninani, Chief Noble Bandele El Amin, back again for another video. And I got my brother here once again, brother Jamil, in the building. And we about to get back into some history, y'all. You know, we're gonna pick up kind of from where we left off on the first part of Black history. You know, we trying to expose and take the head off and expose some truths, hidden gems to Black history, to melanated history, because it go melanated history for me, because it's like melanated history go back, way back, farther than Black, so but that's what we're talking about today. So please, like, subscribe. Please share the video if you can. Please share the video, okay? And we about to get into this, man. You want to give them your intel?
Check
where they
me
can
out
reach
on
you at?
Instagram. Check me out on Instagram, BlackFamilyTrees. If you're trying to get your genealogy done, if you're interested in getting some genealogy work, trying to find your ancestors, we can definitely, help you out. We definitely connect you to your ancestors. So hit me up, Instagram, BlackFamilyTrees.
No doubt. And yes, sir. And you can hit me up on indigenousservices.webs.com for the one-stop shop for your indigenous Moorish needs. All right. So with that being said, let's get back into this video, man. Like we left off right where Christopher Columbus was 1492, right? So we left right off right there, right? So that's like a very big, that's a big change. Like that right there is like Christopher Columbus, he signifies the beginning of the New World Order, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Like that's where I think New World Order come from, and how they talk about New World Order is because this New World, So Christopher Columbus is that main. They, even if he ain't the first person to come here, for them that is the first Mason, connected man to come here and discover these shores for their profit. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, man, I'm not gonna get into that, but for y'all, what we doing is we working with a timeline. We got a timeline that brother Jamil has put together that gives you a description of what was going on in West Africa, roughly from 3500 BC, up into more modern times, okay? And so right now, looking at Christopher Columbus in 1492, so anything after that, we're looking at, like I said, a whole new, like, ball game, you know what I'm saying, as far as a lot of things, but not in the way that you think, just because we're talking about Christopher Columbus. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot that was going on in Africa that, they were still rising in a lot of ways, you know what I'm saying? So, like I said, we're going to get into that, man. So is there anything, you wanted to say? I just, to speak.
I just want to thank everybody for watching the video. Check us out. We finna really drop some heat. Just pay attention and as close as you can, and really try to do some research on this information we're talking about. Is very important, and it's some very life-changing information. We doing it just for y'all today, brother Jamil and brother Bandele. So let's get it started, man.
No doubt, man, no doubt. So all right, so you wanna go to the chart, the time chart?
Okay, yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
Okay, well, you do that, man. I'm gonna share the screen.
Okay.
If it let me, man. I've been having, I don't know, I feel like Mercury in retrograde, but it's not, but it feel like it, because I'm like, tech is crazy. So
yeah, man.
But you can Share screen there.
Yeah, hopefully,
There you go. There you go.
you
It should be about to share though, but like I said, I mean, West African history would be like where we from, you know, like I've been, like I said, I mean, I've been watching videos. I've been watching, like, you know, brothers saying how we are not from here, from Africa, and it's like it's like hard to say that there's not any Africans coming here. It's hard to say that. It's hard to say that there's no Africans that was coming over here in the time, you know. Now, like I said, I don't know how many. Like, we can argue about how many Africans or whatnot came to America, but I think at some point there were Africans that were being brought here based on the information, the historical information that we have. So, you know, all right. So let me get into this. So what we timeline? Oh.
I mean, you got brothers saying that it wasn't. They made it all up. They saying they made it all up. It was saying it wasn't no slave. Where the slave ships at?
Right.
Where the slave ships? If they was on the slave boats, why it ain't nothing left?
Exactly. They saying all that. So it's like, what is it like? And this ain't no disrespect to, like, this is not any disrespect to those brothers. You know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to, like, find the balance in this. You know what I mean? Because it's like it's like for them, it's like all or none. You know what I mean? But nonetheless, right? What we're talking about, we have wars and trade, golden era of African kingdoms. So basically, from the 1500s all the way up to 1799. Right. So you could, like, and like I said, that's right. Hold on. What's it? 50, we talking about 1521. So can I just say 1492? Can I just say, when we talk about Christopher Columbus, we also talk about the fall of the Moors. You know what I'm saying? Like, Christopher Columbus also, he's a depiction of the falling of the Moors. Because once the Moors were defeated, you know, that allowed Christopher Columbus and them to really have passage to the New World without permission, because they beat them. So it's like now that Christopher Columbus and them defeated the Moors all the way, they are now helping the European. Okay. So that brings us into what we can talk about, 1521 AD. Right. So, I mean, so you can go ahead and read whatever. You go ahead and read, brother.
Okay, so you want me to read it, and then we can, I don't know, go back to the video thing. But it say Mustafa Zemmouri, also known as Esteban Nisio, was born in Morocco. He was captured and enslaved. He's the first African. They say he's the first African to explore America. And he died in New Mexico in 1539 in what is now New Mexico. So he's born in Morocco. This is a Moor, obviously. Okay, I'm gonna let you take this, because this definitely a Moorish thing right here.
Well, I mean, go ahead. What you got? Let me see. I'm gonna pull him up. Is this him? This him? Yeah, this him.
Because I will say this though. Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. I will say this, and I'm gonna let you take it over. A lot of folks will say we not Moors. Like, nobody here is Moors. But people forget that the Moors were the first to be enslaved.
True.
They were the first to be enslaved. That's why you have brothers like this one here being one of the first people to come to America. Now, I'm gonna leave it at that.
Right here. Right. Right. And look at this brother. You know what I mean? So, I mean, the way they got him at least depicted, but uh, I mean, without a doubt, I mean, he's called Esteban the Moor. Okay, so he, like he said, born out of Morocco. Okay, they got you got Moors written all over. Okay, you got Berber Moors written all over. The fact that, like we said, the Moors, the prior to the 1492. Okay, prior to 1492, if you go back 700 years with the Moors having that land and being able to pretty much exist on their own, they was able to come up with like science and all this stuff in Spain, right? So with that being said, the Moors were already sailing and stuff around and already over here in America. So I mean, like, it's that connection that the Moors have with their knowledge and ability to be in Americas before Christopher Columbus and them came. And the fact that Christopher Columbus and them leaned on these Moors, because we all know that Moors were the best at the seas. They were the best seafarers that there were. So it's not a wonder why I would see a Moor on the ship with him. How he would even know what a map looked like of this land. It would be because of Moorish, more seafaring. It go back to even when we talk about in Mali. You know what I'm saying? When King Mansa Musa brother went out, his ships went out and never came back. I mean, the fact that they've been coming over here had been coming over here. So by the time 1492 was just the end of the Moors having having that power in that region. Like, they lost that power in that region. They shifted down south, more back into Africa, and got out of Europe. And at this time frame in the 1500s, you got a lot of Moors like this who are going to the highest bidder, or out of being a prisoners of wars in a sense, are giving up this information for Christopher Columbus. Okay, so I mean, you got anything else to add to that, man? Or
that's powerful right there. Mustafa Zemori. I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce that. Once again, he was born in Morocco. This Moor, in the European history books, it said they saying he was the first African, the first person born in Africa to explore America. Now we could that's debatable, but it's very interesting that this Moor was captured and enslaved and brought here and died in New Mexico. Was here in America.
Right. Well, in their history,
almost 100 years before 1619.
Yeah, almost 100 years. I mean, like, see, the thing about it too, though, is that when he sailed, if you even look at his name, like, that name looks Spanish, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he was born in Morocco, but he probably lived. I mean, like, he could have been Spanish with a name like that, and the fact that they were still in Spain. I mean, that's where they was at. It's no wonder. He got caught. There's a lot of Moors that got caught up in the whole defeat. Like, they had to turn into Christians and called them Moriscos. You had a lot of the Jews. They had to scatter themselves out. They called the Jews like Moors, some kind of Jewish Moor. So there was a lot of stuff going on around that time too. In 1521, that time frame, Spain had really pretty much pushed the Moors out, and was used. At this point, they was using them.
Okay.
He said he was captured and enslaved, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm saying was, he was basically forced into this situation. So he was giving up information, because why would they have him exploring America, man? Like, why would they not have? Like, that's what they telling us. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like that's how we see it. Is okay. He was the first. My fault. He was the first to explore, but that's the first. First of all, that's the first that they documented.
Mm-hmm.
But it's only for them. They documented it for their benefit.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying? So I mean, that's what that is to me. You know, in that sense. But and so that's like a 1521, man. That's very interesting, man. Like I said, 1521. They was just, like I said, that was Spain. 1521, like, because I feel like Spain Portugal, which is weird, because Portugal just fell off.
Okay.
Spain and Portugal, they got off. Like, they got off early to an early run. They was the first ones. Like, when we talk about slavery, like, that was 1521 before 1619. Well, that's because, like, for real, the English, they weren't in the game yet. For real, you know, they was busy. See, the French and the English was in war with each other, so they ain't had time to be trying to explore.
Okay.
You know what I mean? The French-Indian War, you know what I'm saying? The 100 Years' War or whatever, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So anyway, enough being said on that, man. We can go to the next one if you ready.
Okay.
You know.
I mean, I do want to go to the next one, but I did also kind of want to throw this in too, though. This might possibly add something more to the conversation. I'm not exactly sure which decade. This was somewhere around this time, I assume. But there's another case where we see that Berbers or otherwise, you know, people from North Africa were becoming like the first slaves. I'm talking about the Canary Islands. A lot of people don't know this. The Canary Islands is some islands that's like right off Morocco. This was one of the first places the Portuguese went and enslaved people. They damn near wiped them out. The people of the indigenous people of the Canary Islands. True. And this is one of the first places they went and took over. And a lot of people in the United States do have some lineage to them. I know, for instance, if you're from Louisiana, around the Mississippi area, I know at some point the Spanish went from the Canary Islands to Louisiana, and they brought some of these people from the Canary Islands there. So I think that's always interesting. And mind you, this was going around that time frame, around when, you know, the Spanish or the Portuguese, they went into these islands and began enslaving these people. So,
Right. That's heavy, man. That's real heavy, man. That's real heavy. It's so much, man. I mean, like, that's real deep, dog, because, you know, you got, like I said, these Europeans in the beginning, it does show evidence of these Europeans, especially, like I said, Spain and Portugal, having a relationship with the coastlines of Africa, West Africa. They had a relationship early, prior to even the Moors being defeated. They had a relationship, you know, back in the 1400s, like early 1400s. You know, Spanish, Christopher Columbus, going up and down the coastline and setting up trading spots. So I mean, like, the first thing was, you know, they setting up these trading posts and trading stuff. So the trading just got a little bit more, you know, expensive, if you will. Like, you will start moving up to slavery. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, definitely, like I said, definitely a connection. The whole Christopher Columbus, that whole era, that he changed the whole era. He changed everything. You know what I mean? Like that. You know, and it's just crazy. Like, the Spanish and the Portuguese jumped out first on it, and like it's like they fizzled out, man. You know, later on in history, like when we talk about slavery, it's really when we talk about like the British, like the English, the Anglo-Saxons, their involvement with slavery, 1619. You know, that's their involvement with slavery. Which I can't wait to get to 1619. That's but anyway, you know that.
Okay.
You know, so.
Okay, so we got 1590. I mean, I wouldn't want to talk about Songhai too much. I mean, I would want to throw a few things in. Songhai.
I mean, okay.
We could do a couple of shows on Songhai, to be honest.
Right, we can. But I tell you what is important though. The fall of Songhai, what that did. You know what I mean? Like the fall of Songhai, what did that do to Africa though? You know what I mean? Like what kind of impact did that have on Africa and you know, perhaps even with the slave trade, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, like, what did you think?
That's a really good question. It's a really good question. I can't say exactly how the fall of Songhai would have contributed to the slave trade in some type of way. I can't even say. I don't even want to waste no time on trying to explain that.
Okay, we'll move on here, man. We got, like we said, we can go. So, the next one is really 1619.
Okay, 1619. 1619.
Right.
And then I do want to point this out right here. We did the other show. We didn't go in depth into the legacies, into the kingdoms, and into the cultures of these people that we talked about, like that would do it justice. We kind of went over it, but we went from the first show. We went from who was that? Dinga in 450 AD.
Right,
Dinga.
right. No doubt. Like, for all of y'all, like this is part 2. We did like for more information about the Africans, West Africa. Check out the first video, part 1. So with that being said, though, I mean, what we going? We at 16.
Yeah, we at 1619. I just pointed out. So now this is the beginning, really, of what we know as the slavery here in America. This is the beginning of kind of, at least what the Europeans, they commonly say, is the beginning of the enslavement of African people in America, the 13 colonies.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, do you know the story of how these people got here?
Man, like I feel like okay. From what I understand, like they were, I feel like they was Portuguese or something, or somebody, like Spanish or Portuguese ship that got seized by an American ship.
Right.
An American ship seized it and took the slaves and brought them to the colony of Virginia, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I heard. That they weren't even, the first enslaved Africans weren't even intended to come here. They were stolen twice. Stolen twice, bro. Basically, to get, you know what I'm saying, to get here. So I'm like, man, that's crazy right there, though.
Said it was stolen twice.
Stolen twice, you know what I mean? So I don't know. It's crazy. It's crazy. So I mean, so like, what's your thoughts on it, man?
Okay, well, 1619, we got right here the first enslaved Africans brought to the 13 colonies? Because we already know it was enslaved people already brought here that was African, but they weren't
They
part of
say the
it.
first, right, right. They say it's the first group of African slaves. Now they say where they was coming from. Like see, certain people say they was coming from, like down in Cuba or somewhere or something.
Okay.
Some people say that the ship was coming from there and got stolen. You see what I'm saying? So, like that's something else to think about too. Like, you know, but they don't take none away because a lot of what we call enslaved Africans were brought to like Cuba and the Caribbean to be sold to Americans. You see what I'm saying? So, you know, it's funny that it be like that. What if those American ships that said we gonna just cut the middleman out, we gonna steal them and bring them?
Okay.
Like, you know, that's how I kind of look at it. Like they stole them, they cut them out. Like, man, we bought like, because it feel like most of the slaves was coming out of the South, like Southern America, and coming out of a lot of them was coming out of the Caribbean. They were sending them there. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, maybe I feel like maybe there are some ties to that whole like relationship with buying from the Spanish. Like that whole relationship of buying from the Spanish, being American or Anglo-Saxon, may not rub them well after a point in time. Like they really, you know,
True.
But so, you know, anyway, man. I mean, that's my thoughts on it. This is where African American history started. For most, like this is the push they pushed in 1619. I did a video on that, y'all. You can check that out. It's about 1619, but you know, it's just basically that whole 1619 assignment that they got, that they, you know, like push that narrative that, you know, this is where y'all start right here. Y'all start with the English stealing y'all from some damn Portuguese or some shit. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah. I do want to also add to this though that like I was saying earlier, it's a lot that we kind of didn't go over, so I want to give it just a little bit of context. Like at this point, it's a lot of wars going on in places throughout Africa, right? And whenever you got wars, you got people fighting. You know, they're gonna kidnap some people. You know, they're going to tie them up and they're going to sell them to the white man for a kente cloth or whatever, you know, some rum, whatever, you know. So the people who came here in 1619, they believe that they know which tribe they came from, okay, and which place they came from, and where they say that they came from was from Angola, or where they believe they came from was from Angola or the Congo, and these were Bantu people, and these were possibly Mbundu people. If any of y'all ever heard of Queen Nzinga, this kind of relates to all that. So I just want y'all to keep in mind, I mean, that's going to be a pattern throughout, a trend throughout African history through this time. It's going to be a lot of war, it's going to be a lot of fighting, civil war, and as a result, people are going to get snatched up and sent off to America. So from places like Portugal, I think even the next person that we got on here was from from Angola. That area, Angola, Congo, is possibly Bantu. So if you are here in America, you, a black American, you got some Bantu roots. Bantu, look it up. Some Bantu for the first time. If you ain't never heard it before, you hearing it today with Brother Jamil, and Brother Bandele on New Kemet TV. like and subscribe. Check out his books. You know, I mean, we bringing y'all some heat. I mean, this is some heat right here. The Bantu. We connecting everybody with their roots. I mean, this should be a very interesting video for a lot of people. So just throwing that out there.
So what you're basically saying that these 1619 people were from Angola, or you said the Congo?
Yeah, they were saying that they got good reason to believe that these people who was on this boat that got here in 1619, they believe that they were from the Mbundu tribe, because the Portuguese established a colony in that area where the Mbundu were. They fought the Mbundu and a lot of other Bantu groups, but they defeated the Mbundu and they created the colony of Angola. And they took the Mbundu, put them on a boat, and was trading them as slaves. The Portuguese and their African allies, it's important to also point out, they had African allies. They weren't just going in there and just beating up them. Like, nah.
Right.
They had some help. You know, they kind of fucked up the Mbundu. I mean, bear with me.
Hell yeah.
But, you know, they was able to recover somewhat. But a lot of them got sent to the New World, and they believe they was on that boat that got here in 1619. And if you here in America, you might got some Ubuntu roots for real. So yeah,
that's interesting. They tell it, yeah, it's real interesting, man. That's interesting. Oh, okay. So where we at the timeline? Where we at?
So I mean, that goes into the brother Anthony Johnson in 1620. This is a brother that we included in here because a lot of times when we get Black history, that they give it to us in the schools, that they give it to us on TV, that they give it to us everywhere. It's typically, I mean, at the best, we might get Harriet Tubman or Nat Turner, but it's nothing that connects us back to Africa. They act like they don't know where we came from in Africa. None of the tribes, like they just forgot. I mean, we don't know where we got y'all from, but you know, y'all here. So, well, we here now, and we here, and we got enough information to begin to explore where they came from. I mean, and the crazy part about it is, the historians, they know which tribes we came from and which places we came from. And they recorded brothers like Anthony Johnson, and they known he was from Portugal. I mean, not from Portugal, but from Angola for a very long time. But they don't connect that. They don't connect you with your roots. I mean, this is your roots. If you got some folks from Virginia, South Carolina, it's anywhere in America, because the Bantu was brought everywhere. North America, right. South America, the Caribbean. The Bantu people from Angola and Congo. And the brother Anthony Johnson, it said he was kidnapped, sent to the Virginia colony to work as an indentured servant, and he later became free. It don't say, I meant to put free, but he later became free. What date is this? 1620.
1620. Right.
Oh, he was born in Angola that year, but he would later be sent to Virginia College. I don't know what year he got free, but he got free. I mean, that's why y'all need to do y'all genealogy. A lot of people y'all don't know that y'all probably had some free ancestors. A lot of y'all probably got some free ancestors.
So it's interesting though, because even like this is crazy. All right, so I know some people who be like, they swear that they not from Africa, right? But and they come from like somewhere in Brazil or somewhere, and they speak Portuguese.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, but you got Portuguese Angola, which I mean, it's like basically it's like that's where they start. That's where it starts right there. They start Portuguese. They got a colony. They started colonializing them. You know, teaching them language, all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, just interesting, right there. You know.
Before
go
we
ahead.
go on, though, I do want to add two more things about Angola.
I got a picture of it.
If you ever been to Louisiana and been to New Orleans, or if you're from there or know a little bit about there, the Louisiana State Prison is called Angola. It's called Angola. The Louisiana State Prison is called Angola. And the reason why it was called that was because it was built on a plantation that was called Angola. It was called Angola because there was so many people who was brought from Angola to Louisiana. So if you got roots in Louisiana, I mean, if you got roots anywhere, like I keep saying, you probably got some Bantu from what we call Angola. And finally, in New Orleans, if you've been in New Orleans and been over to the entertainment district, you know that it's Congo Square. There's a place there that called Congo Square.
Okay.
In Angola. Okay, so
right. I know. There's a link to Africa. I don't know, at some point, like we were talking earlier about the Africa, Ohio.
Africa, Ohio. Okay.
Like what's that about? Like what's that about? So, I mean, I feel like the influence is there, despite what some say. I mean, some of the brothers out here saying like it was brought over here. I was watching something today, and they was saying how this, I forgot the European, Frank Boas or something like that. He was like the German who came over here and taught that we were from Africa. That's what he's saying. He was like, that was the first time that, you know, people, that was the first time that we knew that we was from Africa. Like he was like saying it as if we never thought we was from Africa before. And I'm like, well, how old is Africa, Ohio? You know, how old is the African Methodist Church? Like they go back way back before some 18. So like dude died in 1942. So we, you know what I'm saying? Like we talk about in the last 100 years. Like this stuff go back further than that. So like, you know, the connection to Africa go back farther than that, you know, and I don't know. It's like disrespect to Martin Delaney and brothers like that, man. So I don't know, but let's go. Where we was at, man? What else? Was there anything else that you wanted to add?
No, we can go forward.
Yeah, because we about to get into so we in 1686.
No,
right. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. That's kind of a leap right there. Like I said, there's a lot of stuff that's going on in between. This is only a taste of the timeline that we had going. But yeah.
Would you say like in this time frame, like Africa is at war with itself? Like they're all like all these intermediate wars going on around each other, everybody fighting each other, and there's like no real stability in Africa at this time? Or I mean, like what would be like, how's Africa as far as like financially, you think, you know?
I would say around this time is when you see the empires kind of blowing up. Because, hey, slavery is wrong, man, but back then slavery was big money.
Okay.
And slavery meant a lot of power. So, I mean, the big empires and kingdoms that
So like,
grew.
okay,
Even Songhai, Mali. I mean, slavery was big money,
right? But Songhai done failed though, right? When did Songhai
right?
fall?
But now we see new empires and kingdoms popping up,
Okay,
like, or let's say they're not popping up right now. They kind of at their climax, like slavery. The money's so good in slavery, like they in the golden age, because you also got to mind you that in order to build an empire, you got to conquer territory. And in order to conquer territory, you got to take other people's territory. So they getting all this territory, so it's a lot of people being enslaved too. So it's like the bad side of it. It's like the bad side of, well, on one end, you got these kingdoms that's kind of flourishing and going to a golden age, but it's a lot of fighting going on.
right.
It's almost like in the good, well,
I feel like
a lot of people that's making a lot of money selling, drugs, but it's a lot of people that's suffering too. You got a lot of people in the hood that's eating and or whatever. So I mean, it's almost like that, if you want to say.
So okay, we're gonna get into them in a minute too, because I mean I see the Ashanti, so we could talk about that too, because that might play a part in it as well, as far as kingdoms, right?
Right.
But we got 1686. We talking about Queen Nanny, a Jamaican maroon, right, or something like that. Go ahead.
Okay, so we got Queen Nanny right here. We was just talking about that. I mean, Queen Nanny, a Jamaican maroon. Y'all gotta look up Queen Nanny. Queen Nanny was a bad man. Such a mouth, for real. Queen Nanny,
Yeah.
she was something fierce, man. I tell you, there's something about black women, man. Black women, in my opinion, when we look at world history, we look at who the strongest women is, and who are the women who more likely to be warriors and to be queens and just very strong women. We got to look at African women and black women. We got people like Queen Nanny. I mean, Queen Nanny was the leader of the Jamaican Maroons, and she led a rebellion in Jamaica, a very bloody rebellion in Jamaica. Queen Nanny was out there chopping left and right. She was out there some periods. She had hundreds of maybe thousands of followers. Queen Nanny. I mean, how many times you heard of albino women leading a slave rebellion? Like that. And what when is it? 1686. And she was a con. The con women. The con women. And the con is a matriarchal society too. But Queen Nanny, she on the $500 bill in Jamaica, man. Queen Nanny, she's something.
Yes, I. Definitely. What I also heard? It was funny. I heard that I think it was Madame. What's her name? Madame LaRue. Down in Louisiana, you know what I'm talking about? Madam, she was known like a what is it called? She was like they said she was into voodoo and whatnot.
Okay.
Maria Laveau.
Okay, yeah.
They said that they were supposed to be related, her and Queen Nanny.
Wow.
Right. They were saying something. Yeah, it was crazy. But she like 1786. If I'm not mistaken, I think what's name is like a little bit later, but anyway, I think like Queen Nanny was dealing with like, the voodoo and whatnot. Too.
Right.
Yeah. Coming from the icons too, like so yeah, man, that's heavy though. Like, what would somebody say to that? Like, I mean, you know, a lot of times you hear like we're not from here, but they're really not giving you anything to balance it out. Like they're not telling you like, well, where exactly where you from then if you're not from here. But this right here is showing like they are definitely people from African descent over here in America, in the Americas.
I mean, Queen Nanny, she almost like the Jamaican Harriet Tubman, but Queen Nanny was a killer though.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like
Queen, she was something fierce. I mean, the Jamaican Maroons, it was something else. They wasn't nothing to play with, man.
I say, bro, no doubt. I say, you know. And you know, I mean, you definitely don't hear about her,
right? At all. I mean, even though she's Jamaican,
but that's still part of this history here, you know,
right? Because they might throw in some people from the Caribbean in the history. I mean, they talk about Marcus Garvey.
Right. So some say too, though, they like she was born of I'm on live, man. I need to go in the room. I was looking at something here and it was saying that she was born in what is known as Ghana, right? So she was an Ashanti. Maybe. So the shot. That's interesting because. Okay, so Ghana, because we talk about Ghana, right? You said she was born in Ghana, right?
Mm-hmm.
To one, okay, so they were saying one of the Akan tribe. So this is this tribe she was born into out of. They said she was born in the Ashanti tribe, which is one of the Akan tribe.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah. So that's, I mean, it's there. I mean, you know, it's like we can't, you know, they say we can't trust the internet or blah blah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, like, but right here it is saying these things, and they got the documentation. So, I mean, like, you can look it up and see that they say that she come from there. You know what I mean? So,
mm-hmm.
You know, and that was 1686, and you know, and we, you know, look at that in context. That's like 100 years before the United States. You know, like before the United States actually became the United States.
Right.
You know, so you know, this is what was going on. Like, because like slavery really was going on harder in the, like we said, like in Central, South America, and like the Caribbean. It was jumping. It was like the Anglo-Saxons in America, like in what we know as the United States. It's like they got in late in the game. You know what I'm saying? They got in late, and you know, it had been a lot of. It had been like rebellions, revolts, and everything had already happened before America really got their stuff set up in slavery. Like these Spanish and these Portuguese, that history about that time frame, about what they did, is really not talked about. And I think the reason why is because we in the Anglo-Saxon, like because America was founded by Anglo-Saxons, so they really just try to focus on their time in history. And they don't really dwell too much on them, even though they're Europeans. But it don't fit the United States narrative. So I don't think they really talk about it that way. But I mean, So What else is there? To say, I mean, we're gonna be talking about the Ashanti in a minute, so I mean, like, this is going into it right here,
Right.
because a few years later, you got 1695.
Right. 1695. Around this time, OC Tutu, Ashanti King, solidifies the unity of the Ashanti people. By his death in 1715, he transformed Ashanti from a kingdom into an empire. So he was essentially the founder of the Ashanti Empire. He was the first emperor of the Ashanti Empire. OC Tutu.
Ose Tutu. Ashe, man.
Ashe.
We talking about an Ashanti king. So, like, and we know that the Ashanti, they have pretty much, like, apologized for slavery. You know what I'm saying? So it's interesting, man.
Mm-hmm. So I know the Ashanti and the Khan, they were heavily tied to the slave trade, and that around this time, the Ashanti were fighting other Khan groups, right? Because the Khan is one big group, but the Ashanti is just one tribe that's part of the larger Akan tribe, right? So in order for OC Tutu to bring the Ashanti Empire into existence, he had to fight a lot of other Akan tribes. And the Ashanti were one of the tribes that was sent to America as enslaved people. So they don't, OC Tutu, we can't even really express how important this is for real. This is the hidden, the lost history that we've been wanting for a while. OC Tutu, this is some fire right here. Ashanti Kingdom. I mean,
Right.
we're learning now.
Forgot to show. So I mean, I did have a picture of her too. We talking about his sister.
Oh, Queen Nanny. Oh yeah, Queen Nanny.
Right. So I forgot. Yeah, I forgot to show it. My fault. I'll say, So this was the Ashanti. The Ashanti. She was part of the Ashanti, and then we talking about the Ashanti Empire and the king.
And if y'all still with us, man, still stay tuned. We still got some more heat for y'all. I know it's getting in about an hour, but this is some real heat. If you pay attention, and really do some research on what we're talking about, this is priceless. This is priceless information. So just stay tuned. Be patient. We still got a couple more bullet points, and then we're gonna be through. I know the attention span nowadays ain't really
Hey, man.
horrible. So
you already know, man. You know how we get down, though. I mean, like this, like you said, man, it's fire, man. Like y'all, where y'all at, man? Like we showing you where we came from in Africa. Okay, so now what y'all want? You know what I'm saying? I know y'all. What you want now. You can go do the research. Go look at it. You can see that these places are matching. So, I mean, come on now. And like we said, like the Ashanti King, they was transporting Africans too. They was doing slavery. They admitted to doing it. So,
right.
So what you got next? We got so we jumping now. We 1709. 1709. But it's still America what we know is the United States has not formed yet. Has not formed yet. I don't even think George Washington was born yet at this point.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, like, yeah. 1776. Yeah, I feel like he was born later. But so we still dealing with the Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
We still dealing with the Portuguese. You know what I'm saying? Like, they was running stuff for a while.
Mm-hmm.
They was running stuff for a while. That's something that we forget to think about. So we got. So you go ahead. What's the next one? Francisco Mendez.
Got Francisco Mendez, a Mandinka, is kidnapped from his home in Gambia, in modern day Gambia, Senegal, and sent into slavery in the Carolina colonies. A Mandinka, Francisco Mendez. He later escapes from slavery by going into Florida and eventually founded a village in Cuba.
That's crazy. That's 1709. 1709, he went to Florida. I feel like Carolina's Florida. I mean, Seminoles.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Seminoles?
You know, yeah, I mean, like, he might have been possibly dealing with Seminoles, but you got,
Mm-hmm.
you know, him classified as a Mandinka, man, and it's like, shoot, I mean, like, they had a system, like the Spanish had a system going.
Mm-hmm.
They had a real live system going. I mean, they've been doing it way longer than the Anglo-Saxons, the English, and I mean, they had their little stuff going on, like in Africa. They had like their little forts in Africa. They colonialized little areas. I mean, they start naming them Spanish names.
Mm-hmm.
You see, and that's another thing that throw people off is the name. Like, these names throw off because it's not an African name, or I mean, like, not all of them, but like, just say like an example like this one, or even like Esteban. Like, you know, they know him as Esteban, but he's Mustafa.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, they had these other names that they gave him, and it kind of throw the scent off of who they were.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's heavy, man.
That's powerful, though. What year was that? It says 1709.
Yeah, it was 1709 for sure. 1709. So, like I said, this is still before. I mean, hell, this whole timeline that we about to stop at. I mean, like, that ain't even, the United States really ain't even formed. You got English colonies here, United States, as far as colonial, like, but that was under English colonialism. I mean, they were here, but what we know as the United States hadn't even existed at this time. Mm-hmm. That's what's crazy. Like, we still talking about, like, the English pretty much was the east of America and like the south of America, like in parts of southern, what we call America here. And that's all they had. Like, but like Florida, Louisiana, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Mexico, you know, like California and all that was ran by Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I mean, that's why I'm like, you see a lot of that going on. Now, we gonna get like this next one though, 1724. You see it now. You seeing the French involvement.
Mm-hmm.
right, right. This is the first time in the timeline, I think, that you really you see that French involvement in it.
Mm-hmm.
So, you want to? I don't know. You ready to go into that one?
Yeah, we can. Let's say Gaul Gineu is a foreign king. A foreign king. And the grandfather of Toussaint Louverture,
Ashe.
Ashe, is enslaved and taken to Haiti. Okay.
Right.
Now, I don't even think we talked about the Fawn or Dahomey. I don't even think we talked about
Not
that.
really. That far, yeah. I think we briefly said something about that kingdom, but not really, man. You might want to say a little bit about the Fawn Kingdom, like, especially. I mean, like, what you talking about in the 1720s? Like,
I
what
don't
was the
even think we
Fawn?
talked about them at all. We didn't. I mean, like I told people before, it's a lot of stuff that it will be impossible. African history is so deep and has so
Right.
much information, so we skipped a lot of stuff. But the Fawn and Dahomey, essentially, Dahomey is definitely best known for being a voodoo kingdom.
Oh yes, yes, right.
Dahomey is located in modern day Benin, and that's what it's known for, voodoo.
Dang, that's what's up. And you know what? That is, I mean, it makes very much sense, right? A
Mm-hmm.
Fawn King and a grandfather of Toussaint. So Toussaint comes from a long line of voodoo tradition,
Mm-hmm.
and we know that is what they use in Haiti to basically rally them and help them defeat the French
Mm-hmm.
to proclaim their independence. A lot of that had to do with voodoo. So it is very fitting, and it makes a lot of sense that his grandfather. You see the connection here with the voodoo from Africa. You know what I'm saying? You can see that connection. You can actually see it now. It's like Toussaint ain't just sitting on his own without no mother and father or without no genealogy. The genealogy has been so broken up that we've been having a hard time trying to like fit these pieces back together though. But right, but his grandfather was enslaved, so I mean, like, and it showed you like it was a king. They was taking kings down, like.
Mm-hmm.
That was like, I mean, but that too, but that's showing you too, like the Fawn Kingdom had to be like weak. You know what I'm saying? Like the Fawn Kingdom had to be kind of weak at this point.
I mean,
And,
it is it's hard to kind of put this in context, but he could even been taken in a civil war. I mean, that happened too. I know, for instance, Dahomey had a lot of beef with the Yoruba. They had a lot of beef with the Yoruba, so this might have been a point where the Yoruba kind of took the upper hand. But you're right though, it was a lot of instability within Africa at this time. A lot of chaos, a lot of fighting. If you want to say, a lot of Ogun energy was going around.
right.
So yeah, you had a lot of that going on, and I mean, I really like this example because it goes to show that we got folks talking about, we was kings before we got here. We had queens. It was queens that was
Right, you're right. They weren't lying.
And then we got examples like this that show it was royalty that was brought here. So I like that example. And there were many other cases in which, we see different people who were African royalty that were enslaved and brought here. So
yeah, exactly. Exactly. I mean, if they taking kings, then they're taking everything. You know what I mean? Like they get everything. They get all kind of servants and people in the kingdom. So I mean, yeah, man. I mean, it's a lot going on. I mean, I'm seeing like the fine people, basically in Benin and like I said, Nigeria and Togo. They said that they have ancient roots with the Aja people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, that's true. Yep.
So, yeah. So they. Okay. I got you. Interesting.
So,
yeah, that opened a whole new can of worms right there, man. We talking about it's right. It's a lot of tribes and stuff that we really don't know about. Like we don't really know their history, even though, we claim to be African American. There's a lot for us to know and learn about their history over there, and make the connection. I mean, you had a foreign king, you know what I'm saying? I mean, and like you said, they in Benin, so they was practicing voodoo, practicing voodoo. And they was enslaved and taken to Haiti. So what it looked like they took a whole bunch of them people from the Spanish and the Portuguese being the first to do it. I felt like they went in there and got the people who was really practicing voodoo, and they brought them over here. They brought a lot of cats that was practicing voodoo. Like I think the Americans, I felt like by the time the United States, by the time they really get going and cranking, which for real, slavery really didn't last that long in the United States.
Right.
It was less than 100 years or so. I mean, you had, like we said, you had illegal stuff going on, but legally, nah, it had stopped. But what was I saying? The boats, just the fact that they
that's deep right there. You said slavery didn't last officially in the United States even for 100 years. In the United States, as it became to be known, didn't even last 100 years. I liked how you said that. I just want to throw that in there.
Yeah, definitely, man. I mean, I felt like that the Spanish, like I said, the Spanish and the Portuguese were really getting a lot of voodoo, and then the Americans, when they got their stuff going, I don't feel like they was picking up a lot of them from there. They was a lot of slaves they picked up secondhand from the Spanish, and then because they was getting them from the Bahamas and stuff, and from from even Haiti. Like Haiti, everybody be talking about Haiti. Like Haiti was the biggest profiting plantation in the world. Haiti was the most profitable plantation in the world before they overthrew it. It was making a lot of money from the French. Like what's his name? Napoleon. He was making a lot of money off of that. For real.
Okay, so I think we down to the last one. I think for this part, I think we will come back for a part 3 maybe.
Yeah, because for real, I mean, y'all, Black history is melanated history. Like we did it, we started this in February as a jump, but I mean, this go on all the time. This is like melanated history is all year. It's 365. It's a millennium. So, don't don't get caught up in the Black history. This is all about us for all times, and we should, like, me and the brother will be bringing more content in this fashion about stuff like this, because it's important all year. You know what I'm saying? So, back you say, so we back at 1750, right? Okay, and you got, what is that? William Billy Lee. Oh yeah, I gotta show a picture of us. Yeah, that.
Okay.
Right. Go ahead, man.
This man, William Billy Lee, I would say he's my founding father. These people, they always want to talk about their founding father. William Billy Lee, he's definitely got to be considered one of our founding fathers right here. This man, for all y'all who don't know about William Billy Lee, if you go to Google or you look up William Billy Lee, he's often pictured right alongside no other than George Washington himself. And right. William Billy Lee, we got this name right here. Now, I want y'all to picture in your mind what this guy might have looked like in these pictures. I mean, brother, could you...
I thought you was gonna read it, but go ahead.
Okay. What's that? Billy Lee, portrayed as an Islamic West Sudanese nobleman, or better yet, a Moor, is taken into bondage by George Washington. Lee becomes Washington's quote-unquote personal attendant or valet.
Right.
So we got the brother William Billy Lee right here, pictured right next to George Washington, and I don't know if y'all getting a very good look at him, but this brother right here, I mean, what that look like to be? That?
I know. I mean, like, he dressed. I mean, like, he would be considered a Moor, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, for all purposes, but where they say he was from?
I mean, who is this brother? I mean, they don't really know. They don't really say where he's from, but just looking at him, he's definitely something to look at. Who is this brother behind George Washington? This black brother right here, or clearly
right? And he's on numerous pictures. Like, it's the only picture he on. Like, he on other pictures, and it's like, being that you know how George Washington was, he was very meticulous and like very astute of like esoteric principles, and like he understood what a Moor was. He understood what about like constellations, astrology. Like, he understood things that were not necessarily what you're gonna find in Catholic society. They were like renegades, and so for him to be associated with him, it's like, and being that that George Washington had slaves, so it's like, George Washington, damn well he didn't treat them like that, but a lot of times the Moors, or people that was considered Moors, would become your right hand man. Like, even though like a lot of times they could have been brought into slavery, right, or whatnot, kidnapped and brought here, and find out that they are well read. But, you know what I mean? And that's for somebody like George Washington, who was into like the knowledge and into that. I mean, I could see him having somebody like that. He probably gained a lot of knowledge and information, about certain things and how to, deal with stuff because of him. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you see that a lot of times. Like, we talk about the Prince of Slave. You know, him being who he was, and like, and being knowing Arabic, and that him being as smart as he was in the master's house because he was, the master realized that he wasn't like the rest of these Negroes out here. So I mean, with that being said, I look at this picture and it's like, it's this young Moorish looking brother who seems to be almost at equals with this man, and at a time, like I said, of slavery, and he owned slaves. So it's like, what's really going on here? You know what I'm saying? And like, because people would easily dismiss him as a slave, as a nobody, because he's they'll dismiss him as a slave. But like we said, I mean, when you look at this brother's, like that what is he wearing?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, look at him. He dressed up like that. He is not in any slave gear. That does not look like slave gear. That do not look like Kanye West clothes. You know what I'm saying? Like, it does not. It does not. He don't look nothing like. He looked G'd up on this picture. I'm just saying, he looked G'd up on this picture, and nobody talk about it. Nobody talking.
Why? And this is the whole thing. Okay, so they've been knowing about this guy. I mean, he pictured with George Washington. So these so-called scholars know all about George Washington, but they don't never connect him in Black history. Like, I ain't never heard of him in Black history at all. And
he's a mystery. A mystery. I don't know much. It's funny. I mean, because the Moors do mention him, like, throughout Moorish history, like, they mention this man. And for real, like, I feel like he's had many names. You know what I mean? Like, that's something. Some was trying to call him. I ain't gonna say like Benjamin Banneker, or they trying to say he was. What's the Mason? The
Prince Hall.
Prince Hall.
Oh.
He go to the whole thing about there's a black person on the $2 bill.
Mm-hmm.
And the story go like there's always this, like, they always have these like events, and in these events there's always be some black person sitting in there, like, kind of just watching over them while they do their thing. Like, they were saying, like, when you had the 13 colonies, when they had when they got together for the Declaration of Independence,
mm-hmm.
and when they had the signing of that, they said there was more or something there like that. So it's like it's like he's this figure, this mysterious figure that symbolizes something of great value to the society that we live in.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, and I mean, I throw in just a few tad bits more. I mean, that brother, William Billy Lee, they say he was very close to George Washington. Like, he was his valet. So then, anytime George Washington went anywhere, he was taking him with him, almost like he was a bodyguard of some sort.
So he was his valet, though. So you mean like he was the one driving the horse?
I don't know. Who was keeping the horse? I don't know exactly how they was doing that, but he was supposed to be essentially like always with George Washington, damn near everywhere he went. And he went even with George Washington, when George Washington was fighting the Revolutionary War, he took William Billy Lee with him. And William Billy Lee don't get enough credit at all, because I mean, I would guess that to whatever extent, he played some type of role in us winning the Revolutionary War in 1776. You got this Moorish, melanated guy, you know, that was alongside George Washington when he was winning the war. I mean, how much more founding father do it get? I mean, and we all know that a lot of times they had these people with them for a reason. They just weren't with them because just to have them with them. I think I do suspect that this guy William, that they call William Billy Lee, he might have had some military experience or some type of skill which made him, you know, just like you were basically saying, which made him really valuable to have around. He just wasn't around here because he could pick the cotton the fastest. You know, he can dance real good. I mean, and that's why he painted alongside George Washington in many pictures. I mean, they don't talk too much about him or give him really credit at all, but I mean, it's little hints right there.
Check did. Look at what you said. Like, you got in here that he was a West Sudanese noble.
Yeah, I put Islamic West Sudanese. You could definitely better yet to say more.
I wonder what his like name was though. Like we say William Lee, like William Ali. You know what I'm saying?
It could have been Ali. I mean, you got Lee right there. Sometimes Africans did want try to have similar names, try to flip their names some type of way. I mean, I can't say. I mean, that's a very interesting correlation that we could possibly make. Was he Ali? I mean, I don't know, possibility.
Right. I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot to it, man. Like, we still got more to deal with.
Yeah, and it's so much that we ain't even went over for real. We just giving y'all a taste of things, and I think this is a lot right here within itself. If y'all kind of go through this and look up these people, some very
I want y'all to study, show self-approved, really show us like, well, what if it's not that, then what is it? You know, like help us out, because it's not even really about like, you know, who this versus that, but you know, we just really trying to put some like real good info out there so you guys can have something like to go off of, you know, and if this information is not factual, then, you know, I expect for people to say something, you know, like to show improve, or to show, you know, the error in the information, you know. So, you know, like I said, brother, you know, I appreciate the information. I appreciate that timeline, man. You know, that timeline is crucial, man, for real. Like, you know, like I said, we breaking it down. You know, breaking it down. That's, you know, just more understanding of slavery, because I feel like we don't even know about slavery. Like, they give us, and we got this 1619 complex in our mind, and it's like that's all we got recorded. If you go back to 1619, and then it's like click. I don't know nothing. You know, like, so shoot. I mean, that's what, man. I think that's really it, man. Like, we wrapping it up. But yeah, definitely check us out on social media, man. You can find me under Chief Noble, and under Bandele El Amin, and Brother Jamil. What can they find? What is it called?
Hit me up on Instagram, BlackFamilyTrees. BlackFamilyTrees on Instagram.
Sir. Yes, sir. That's what's up, man. Well, hope y'all enjoy it. Please, like I said, subscribe, thumbs up, share the video, and let us know. And until then,